Yeah, that's where that sound comes from. And I was saying the one I have will slow it down, so I can do those kind of effects. And so you can have a lot of fun. I mean, there's am I still coming through? Yeah. There's a lot of tremolos that will do all of the above. Like the one I have will do the Fender, it'll do the Vox, it'll do that choppy stuff, it'll do. Or you may not need all that. You may just be happy with the amp or be happy with a single pedal that does one thing. But that's tremolo, and that's how that works. And in the pedal, it's using an LFO to raise and lower the volume. So once again, that's a frequency you don't hear, but it is controlling that volume level. Then you come to phasing, which went out of fashion for a long time and now seems to be coming back. Let's see. The old MXR phaser, I mean, originally there was the phase 90, the phase 45, phase 90, phase 100. I was sort of familiar with it with, was it The Closer I Get to You? Point Out the Breeze used to use it on some stuff, and just like sort of, I think that sounded like more the phase 100, which was a higher resonance. This actually you can adjust the resonance, so you get that meow type thing. That was like that's the phase 100 sound. Which is really nice. Sound for that. Or you can do, if you take down the resonance, you get more of the phase 90 sound, which actually can be a nice funk. Can add something nice to funk. Or if anybody remembers the fabulous 70s in country music, Waylon Jennings, I forgot who all else used it back then. James Burton was using it, I think, briefly with Emmylou. That doesn't seem to have come back yet, and I'm not really missing it. Then there was, I guess, the Eddie Van Halen. I don't know any Eddie Van Halen tunes, forgive me, but let me see right now. So there would be that. And I think he used phasing and flanging at various points. Now this also does a vibrato, which is, well, let me explain what phasing is first. In phasing the LFO, it's the signal's split into two parts. There's the dry signal, and then there's a second signal that's thrown out of phase with the original signal. Now what out of phase means is we're talking about the waveforms. So if both signals, those waves were lined up exactly, then they're in phase and you would hear nothing. If you move one over a little bit, then when you're getting the peaks here, you're getting valleys here. So as that happens, it changes they cancel, frequencies cancel out. You get different, that sort of EQ that seems to be shifting in there at that point. I think there's also, it gets more complicated than that because at certain phasing you would get actually no sound, so they put different filters in there so you're always getting some sound. But depending on how you set the depth, you'll get more of that effect, less of that effect. And the LFO also affects the speed, so you can effects like that as well. Now, I was starting to say this has a vibrato. But the vibrato, this one apparently is shifting. When you go into vibrato mode, it shifts the pitch quite a bit. And it's not really a univibe sound. It's a cool sound. A univibe, though, is actually a phaser that does some extra pitch shifting that gives you that vibe sound. And I don't have a univibe here, but one tip on a univibe is put it before the distortion, not after the distortion, for that real Hendrixy sound. They tend to work better put before distortion. So that's more or less a phaser. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. This is a fairly complicated one. You can do a lot of different stuff, or you can just get a phase 90 and get that basic, cool, classic, or small stone phase sound. So chorus, you also use an LFO, but in chorus, what it's doing is also splitting the signal, but it's delaying one of the signals. Now, I can demonstrate this best by, let's see if I can. Okay, let's get this mixer. All right, you hear the delay, right? Yeah, the pitch shifts when I change the delay. That's what a chorus is doing, but only pitch shifting between, like, what did I wrote it down? Because I have no brain. I don't remember anything anymore, or where is it? Yeah, between 10 and 50 milliseconds. So what it's doing is it's constantly shifting that delay, and that's where you're getting the pitch shifting part of it. Now what a chorus basically is attempting to do, if you actually recorded 2 guitar tracks, you would get a chorus effect unless you're unbelievably accurate. Because basically what you're doing is one guitar is going to be playing slightly delayed from the other, and your tuning is probably not going to be identical, even if you tune it up. But you can get really close and maybe not get such a chorusing effect, but if you really want to get a natural chorusing effect, I would suggest detuning the guitar, just a cent or something, or in one direction, do 2 tracks, and that's how you get chorus. That's how they used to get it in studio before some guy invented the pedal. And then they said, wow, how can we get that sound live, if we don't have 2 guitar players and aren't, have 2 tracks. So they figured out that they could, with the LFO, once again, constantly shift that delay time, and that gives you that lovely 80s chorus sound. And what I love about the Boss Super Chorus is that it has a blend control on it, because a little chorus for me goes a long way. And, if you turn the level all the way up, I start getting flashbacks of mullets and weird clothing. But it can be really nice if you turn the blend down a little. I mean, I was playing with it on for about 10 minutes and I didn't even notice it for a while earlier today, because it was subtle, and subtle can really just fatten out a sound, especially, rhythm chiming, rhythm parts. Give you almost a 12-string sound. It can be really, really cool sound. So that's chorus. Any questions so far? Phasing, chorus? Nope.
Flange?
We're getting the flange right now. Either I'm really good or you guys know all this stuff already. So flanging, once again, we have the famous LFO. Only in this case, it's doing the delay is even shorter, and it goes like 5 to 10 milliseconds, and it does. It's varying the time and shifting the pitch also. But that shorter time, I've played with pedals where you can adjust that time, and you adjust it shorter and it sounds like a flanger, and you adjust it longer and it sounds like a chorus. And some flangers, you can get a real chorus sound. A lot of that early Police stuff that sounds like a chorus is actually him playing through an Electro-Harmonics Electric Mistress flanger. But just set, let me see if I can set this one. This has a lot of different. That's super. Yeah. I mean, it's almost chorus here. You know. And Electric Mistress doesn't sound like this, so it sounds. I don't know if this has a little. But what most people use it for is that whooshy sound. The term flanging comes because they originally got the sound by setting up 2 reels of tape, and they would hold what was called a flange on one of the reels, and it would change the speed, and that's, you know, Itchy Coo Park and early stuff. So, and this, I'm pretty sure, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but there, you know. You know, there are some heavy metal stuff that's used, I think there's Van Halen stuff that uses flanging as well as phasing. But that's sort of what flanging is good for. Does that answer the question? Everybody sort of clear on the difference? I mean, you can hear the difference, that's the main thing. Right, we're almost home. Delay is the next.